Good evening. I wish I could be with you in person this evening to celebrate the launch of Indiana Landmark's Black Heritage Preservation Program. I know the room is filled with kindred spirits, people who share a commitment to preserving and restoring historic sites that tell the story of African Americans in Indiana. People who understand the need to acknowledge the rich history of ancestors who began arriving in the Northwest Territory before Indiana became a state in 1816, and who have continued for more than 2 centuries to build communities, businesses, churches, schools, and cultural institutions. It is significant that Indiana Landmarks was a pioneer in the national preservation community when it began this commitment 3 decades ago in 1992 with the creation of the African American Landmarks Committee. Because of the vision of many of you who are gathered this evening, and because of the generosity of the Lilly Endowment, we're able to build upon that foundation with the first of its kind within a statewide historic preservation nonprofit organization. On a personal note, I know that while I received an excellent education in Washington Township's public schools, there was absolutely no mention of my Black ancestors who arrived in Indiana during the 1820s and 1830s as part of the Roberts Settlement. There was nothing in my Indiana history textbooks about the community in Noblesville, where my Roberts, Hammond, Archer, and Bryant family members lived during the late 19th century. There was nothing about a neighborhood called Lovetown, a South Side community adjacent to Norwood, where my father grew up during the 1930s and 1940s. And there was no mention of my great great grandmother, Madam C.J. Walker, and the thriving Black business community at the northwest edge of Indianapolis's Mile Square. Fortunately, those stories are now being told. I know that the work of the Black Heritage Preservation Program means that future generations of Hoosiers of all backgrounds will have access to a more complete and more accurate version of our state's history. What we are doing is important, necessary, and vital. Have a great evening.